Story 1. Every night I write in a journal and note something positive about my day. It cannot be food in my belly or roof over my head. This practice rewires my brain to focus on the positive. Story 2. I deactivated my Facebook account and deleted the Safari browser from my phone, reducing my daily screen time by more than 50%. It made a huge difference. Story 3. Daily long walks provide fresh air and help lower blood pressure. The views are breathtaking, with green hills and a large pond nearby. Story 4. I returned to painting miniatures after a 15-year break. Spending half an hour to an hour each day really shifts my perspective and enables me to focus solely on what I am working on at that moment. Story 5. Not taking things personally. If people say things about you because it bothers them, it's their issue. Story 6. I divorced my abusive and manipulative husband. I am happy to say I have the divorce decree framed and hanging on my wall. I was fortunate. I escaped. Many of us do not get to escape that nightmare. Story 7. I have a dog, and we participate in dog sports. While it hasn't completely fixed my mental health, my dog helps me immensely. He is my best friend. Story 8. 3 major things for me personally. I stopped drinking alcohol. I started working out and taking walks. This led to I stopped running from uncomfortable feelings and began to deal with things, learning to be okay with not being okay. This is slowly turning into self-love. This is beautiful. Story 9. Go into therapy. I am currently facing myself, which hurts, but I feel like I am growing. I realize my past mistakes, and I am slowly becoming the person I aspire to be. I make space for who and what I like. I choose to spend time with loved ones and with myself. I was born to love deeply, to establish boundaries, and to learn self-respect. Story 10. I started keeping a calendar. Surprisingly, I am much less stressed now regarding time management. Being able to visualize how much time I have has been a blessing. Story 11. I deleted a lot of my social media and stopped worrying about how I look to others. If I like what I am wearing and what I am doing, I am not concerned with someone else's opinion of me. Story 12. Fish keeping provides a positive focus and is an engaging process when done well. It offers a calming sensory experience and is satisfying to create a miniature underwater ecosystem that functions effectively. It is delightful to observe while sitting. It may sound sentimental, but when I get close and look inside, I feel as though I am the tiny dwarf shrimp, exploring the natural environment I have created. Story 13. Eating better. Every time I eat something unhealthy that contributes to my weight gain, I feel negative about myself, which affects my mental state. Now, every time I choose something healthy, I reinforce the confidence I have gained from losing over 150 pounds. Story 14. The best thing I did was complete a half Ironman. I'm not a strong athlete, but I proved to myself that with hard work and a strong mentality, anything is possible. My husband noticed my mental health is strongest when I work out, and after the 70.3, it was one of the best states of mental health he had seen in me. I treat exercise like medicine. It not only helps my mental health, but also helps keep my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder symptoms under control, among other things. Story 15. Exercise, mainly walking. I gain positive mental energy from movement and experiencing nature, and if I feel particularly kind to myself, I buy a snack to enjoy on the walk back home. Story 16. I rarely watch or read the news, have very limited social media, and try to spend less time on screens to be more mindful. Online platforms and screens in general can be addictive, and I am struggling with this. Story 17. No social media, only Reddit, which I am new to. It has been extremely positive, and I have found support groups, friendly people, and interesting topics of all kinds. I have stopped drinking, started exercising, and practicing yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. I bought a Kindle and can't stop reading, which has been very good for me. I do not watch television or anything other than a bit of YouTube about positive and happy topics. I am saying no to people and keeping to myself for a while, living alone, listening to old-school reggae music, setting goals, and planning for the future while trying to be in the moment. Even if it feels really tough, I just deal with it and do not block or resist it. I ended my therapy sessions. Story 18. Counting backward when I feel anxious. 100, 300, 500, 1000. It kind of depends on how much of a reprieve my mind needs. Story 19. I became hyperfixated on a fictional character. Because of this, I managed to overcome my suicidal tendencies, and now I do not feel depressed all the time. It finally gave me something to talk about, think about, and engage with. Now I am genuinely interested in something in this world. Story 20. I started writing. Sometimes I couldn't tell what I was feeling since the thoughts were swirling in my head. I was also trying to write songs in the style of The End of Silence by Rollins Band. But I found that seeing what I was feeling helped me figure out if I was depressed, angry, confused, or something else. They don't have names, just dates, because they were written for me and me alone. Later, I found that if I went back and read some of them, I didn't feel that way anymore, so in my mind, I was getting better. It took years, but eventually, I shared some and discovered that there were people who felt the same way I do. Story 21. I cut my cable and gave up television, specifically television news, in 1999. The latter was keeping me angry and depressed. Getting my news online is a less passive experience. I can choose my own subjects and sources and conduct my own research for depth. The news is still disturbing, but I feel better able to cope with it. Story 22. Therapy, medication, continuous positive airway pressure, no alcohol, and very limited caffeine. Setting boundaries with my family, quitting a job that was not right for me, becoming financially stable, and leaving my apartment regularly. Story 23. I have distanced myself from people and activities that were draining me. I still have my difficult days occasionally, but my mental health has significantly improved. Story 24. I joined Orange Theory Fitness and work out 3 to 4 times a week. I no longer have headaches and feel much better overall and happier. Story 25. Shadow work is important, along with meditation and journaling for 2 hours each day. I also watch many videos about personal development and self-improvement. Additionally, I work out 3 to 4 times a week. Story 26. I started making music, producing, mixing, writing, and recording. There is an infinite amount to learn, and it is a great way to express yourself. Story 27. Meditation, exercise, cardio, and strength. Spending time outdoors in nature. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Story 28. There's a therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy, invented in the 1980s by a person who dealt with rumination and spiraling. It has absolutely changed my life and my husband's life. Story 29. I hired a cleaner. I can only afford occasional visits, but even every 6 weeks, it's as good as getting a massage. If I had to choose between the two, I'd say the effects of the cleaner last longer than the massage. Story 30. Deleted social media except for the one Mastodon server I have found genuinely fun. I only keep a short list of relevant subreddits on my feed. I had to browse all subreddits to build an account that can comment, but now I just don't. Story 31. Deleted Facebook. Exercised regularly through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Reduced alcohol consumption. Story 32. Turning off notifications except for my emergency contacts who can reach me through phone calls. Be present. Story 33. I became debt-free. I was very fortunate during the housing bubble during COVID-19. I sold the house I had bought for $180,000 for $500,000 and moved to a town that had not been affected yet, purchasing another house for $240,000. We kept the same mortgage, invested a significant amount in renovations, and paid off all my student loans, credit cards, lines of credit, and vehicle loans. Aside from the mortgage, we achieved a clean slate financially and are now positioned to maintain that stability, with 2 good incomes and no high-interest debt depleting our resources. I was able to stop taking my medications and live much better and happier without the fear of everything collapsing if one disaster struck. No amount of counseling or self-care can address the stress of being just one bad month away from financial ruin. Story 34. Things feel really heavy lately, and even getting out of bed on some days seems overwhelming. However, I recognize this and made my first therapy appointment this week. Story 35. Everything is done normally, from waking up until falling asleep. Whatever happens, just do it without interruption. Story 36. Keeping away from social media, as I can tailor my experience on platforms like Reddit, is helpful. I am focusing on spending more time outdoors. I also prioritize being around my friends instead of staying alone when I am in a bad mood. Story 37. Creating things. Music, art, writing, organizing the pantry, whatever it may be. Nothing needs to be completed. It simply needs to be something that did not exist in the world until I brought it forth. It is something uniquely mine and reflects my relationship with my environment. Additionally, I enjoy attending community events. Story 38. I quit my stressful job and changed careers completely. I went from being chronically depressed, in a way I thought could not be fixed, to being a happy person. I am still astonished years later at how quickly and completely a problem I had for over 20 years was resolved. Story 39. Stop letting other people's opinions or judgments interfere with my life and how I am living it. I will make choices that support my physical, mental, and emotional health. Story 40. Don't laugh, but Reddit. I'm not sure why, because usually social media makes me anxious, but this format seems to actually help. Story 41. Do the same thing somewhere else. If I'm stuck in television mode, feeling depressed, experiencing pain, or whatever else might make it feel never-ending, I ask myself if I could do the same thing somewhere else. If I'm watching television, could I do it on a blanket at the park with my tablet, or at a friend's house? If I'm reading, could I do it at a cafe or on a bench by the river? If I'm listening to a podcast, could I perhaps take a shower and change my pajamas? Sometimes all I need is a slight change to break the cycle I'm in. Story 42. Since being on a ventilator in 2011, I was hospitalized with pneumonia 3 to 4 times a year. I started taking Mucinex twice a day in July 2023 and have not been hospitalized since then. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.